Assalamu alaikum friends, this is Mohammad Inam, and in this video we are going to talk about very interesting topic. You guys are already very familiar with ordinary derivative, but what about the fractional derivatives? So in this video we are just talking about fractional derivatives of some elementary functions and the example. And if you like the video, then don't forget to subscribe my channel. Friends, let's start with one elementary function. F of x equals to x power n. This is our one elementary function where n belongs to positive integers. So the first derivative of this function is just nx n minus 1, and the second derivative of this function n minus 1 x n minus 2, and the third derivative of this function is n minus 1 n minus 2 x n minus 3. So we can rewrite this as n factorial over n minus 1 factorial x n minus 1, and this one will be n factorial over n minus 2 factorial x n minus 2, and the last one n factorial over n minus 3 factorial x n minus 3. So the alpha derivative of this function can be written as n factorial over n minus alpha whole factorial x n minus alpha. This is the general derivative of this function. Here our n belongs to positive integer. I want to change the domain of n, so I can change this by using some facts. So we know that n factorial equals to gamma of n plus 1, and n minus alpha whole factorial will be gamma of n minus alpha plus 1. Using these facts, this result will be f alpha derivative of x power n equals to gamma of n plus 1 divided by gamma of n minus alpha plus 1 x n minus alpha. Now this n belongs to positive real number. We have changed our domain of n from positive integers to positive real number. It works for all positive real numbers. So guys, we have one particular example. Let's f of x equals to x. It means here n equals to 1, and I am interested to find out the half derivative of this function with respect to x by using the alpha is 1/2 here. Using the previous result, we have found that f alpha of x is just gamma of n plus 1 divided by gamma of n minus alpha plus 1 x n minus alpha. Using this result here, we can find the half derivative of x. So here n equals to 1 and alpha is 1/2. So this is 1 plus 1 x 1 minus 1/2, and here gamma of 1 minus 1/2 plus 1. So this is 1 gamma of 1. Using the property of gamma function, gamma of n plus 1 equals to n gamma of n. So here is gamma of 1, and this will be gamma of 1/2 plus 1, and this is 1 minus 1/2 is 1/2. So we know that gamma of 1 is 1 and gamma of 1/2 is radical pi. So this result will be 1 over radical pi over 2 x 1 half. So we can say that the half derivative of x is 2 radical x over radical pi. So this is very interesting, guys. The half derivative of x is 2 over radical pi times radical x. For an elementary function, that is f of x equals to e power kx. So the first derivative of this function is just k e to the kx. The second derivative of this function is k square e power kx, and so on. We can say that the alpha derivative of this function will be k alpha e power kx. So we can find the half derivative of this function by using this definition. So let's say alpha equals to 1 half, then the half derivative of this function will be radical k e to the kx. Or we can satisfy it also. How? Taking another half derivative of this function. We are taking another half derivative of this function, so this part will be df of x by dx, and this is radical k, and this will be radical k e to the kx again. So this is k e to the kx. So you can see that this is true. This is half derivative of this function, and this satisfies the ordinary derivative of this function. We have another elementary function, that is f of x equals to cosine ax. So the first derivative of this function is a negative of sine ax, or we can rewrite this one as a cosine ax plus pi by 2 times 1. The second derivative of this function is just negative a square cosine ax. So we can write this one as a square cos ax plus pi by 2 times 2. So the nth derivative, alpha derivative of this function, can be written as a alpha cosine ax plus pi by 2 times alpha. This is the general form of derivative of this function. So let's try to find out the half derivative of this cosine function. So the half derivative of this cosine function will be radical a cosine ax plus pi by 4. So this is the half derivative of this cosine function. Now one more elementary function, that is cosine ax. The sine of ax, the first derivative of this function is just a cosine ax, or we can rewrite this one as a sine ax plus pi by 2 times 1, and the second derivative of this function will a square negative sine ax, or here a square sine ax plus pi by 2 times 2. So on. The alpha derivative of this function can be written as a alpha sine ax plus pi by 2 times alpha. This is the general derivative form of this function. We can find the half derivative and other derivative as well. So here we are talking about the nth derivative of this function. So it will be a power e sine ax plus pi e over 2. So this is very interesting, guys. We can find any derivative of these functions. I hope, guys, you have a lot enjoy with this video. So if you like the video, then subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching this video.